Wonderful. Hello, everybody. I'm Lori McGee, and this is my beautiful daughter Jessica. And we are gonna just do some painting at home today and show you one that you can do at home as well. Super easy, so I hope you have a good time. All right, so we are going to start off with a piece of canvas. I like the thin ones because they're easy to find frames for, and they're easy to store. They're a little cheaper than the box ones. And this size is a 16 by 20, but you can use any size you want. Jesse, can you hand me that? After I'm done with it, I'm going to frame it. So I get my frames at Walmart, or Goodwill is a good place to get frames. But I like this one because it comes with a border. So I like to buy a frame that's bigger than the print so you can use a border to make it pop a little more. All right. So Jesse, you want to go to your station and we'll get started. So I'm going to be giving Jesse instructions along with you, and then we'll compare what our stuff looks like when we're done. If you don't have a tripod, no worries. Just put your canvas or your poster board or whatever you're going to paint on your table.
Do you have your brushes over there?
Yeah, I have everything. All right, so I don't have anything fancy to use to put my paint on since I'm using acrylic paint. I just got a little dish. So Jesse, you got a dish over there, and that's where I'm going to put my paint. So we're using this vase with flowers as our inspiration. But it's not going to look realistic. So I'm going to show you an example of what we're going to be painting. And Jesse, you can look at my phone as well.
I'm going to pull it up on mine.
I got a little bit of glare. So you can see that it has a little glass jar and some flower buds coming out of it. Now the next thing we need to do is pick our background color. I'm going to do a really dark color because this is going to go in my bedroom. So I want the background to be dark. You're going to need some black and white paint. You always need black and white paint to make it darker or lighter. And I'm using acrylic. We're going to share the black and white paint, Jesse. So just put a little dab on your, I'm not going to use the white right yet. I'm going to start with the black. And you're going to do the same colors as me, or you're going to pick a different background color. Okay, you can use any background color you want. Just make sure it's not too light, because we're going to be doing a glass jar on top. So you're going to want the background to be a little darker so the glass jar will pop. Now you don't ever want to paint with just pure black. So to lighten the color, I'm going to put a purple and red tint in it. Now if you don't have any purple paint, primary colors, you mix red and blue together and they'll make purple. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a little dab of red and a little dab of blue. But you don't have to mix your own paint. You can just find whatever color shade you want. So you're going to need some water to rinse your brushes out. So I really don't have that much right here. So to spread your paint a little better, you're going to want to go on and wet your canvas. That will help the paint spread a little bit. So I'm just using water and a brush, and I'm going to just dab it over my canvas to get my canvas wet. Okay, so this is part 2 of painting with Lori. And you should have already painted your canvas in the color, your background color that you want it. Be any color you like. And you should make sure it's good and dry. Acrylic paints dry super quick, so I love that about them. All right. Can you see this on this one? All right, now we're going to add our glass jar. If you look back here, you can use a mason glass jar, put some water in it if you need a prop to look at, or you can just go on my Facebook event, and I'll post this along with the videos. But this is the example that I'm using, and we're going to start off painting that glass jar right there. So the colors you're going to need are white and a blue or gray, depending on what your background are. So I am going to use the same plate. I rinsed it, so it's nice and clean again. And I also got some paper towels or napkins. I know these are in high demand right now. So just use one to dab your brushes off in between to get the excess water off of them. You might be a messy painter like me. I'm already wearing some paint. I even got it in my hair so I'm just a big old hot mess. All right, but we're going to start off with some white. And just like the black, you don't ever want to paint with just white or just black. You want to add a little other tint to it. So Jesse, if you could hand me that blue. This one? No, the darker one. Nope, the one on the printer. The one we used earlier. Thank you. My assistant, Jessica, is helping me today. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of the blue. You don't need a lot of paint. I'm going to hand that back to Jessie so she could do the same. And yeah. Jessie says she needs white. We got a little jazz going on in the background so you don't have to listen to silence in between my talking. And then I have some gray, or you can just add a little black with your white and you can have gray. So just going to put a little dab of gray. Whoop, that was a lot. And there you go, Jessie. There's for you. Now, you're not going to want to use a fat brush, so change brushes. It's time to switch out your brush. And I'm going to get a finer one. So I don't spend a lot of money on brushes. I'm not a professional, as you already know. So I got a really pointy one and then a kind of flat tip one. I don't know any of the technical names for these. Little teeny, little flat is what we're going to call it. And we are going to start off. When you look at your canvas, now you get to pick how you want your canvas to sit. Do you want your flowers to be on this way or this way? So I'm going to go this way today. So when I'm looking, and I'm going to have to go back and touch that up. There's a spot on the bottom that's all white. You want to divide your canvas in half. Sometimes I'll use a pencil to mark, and then you want to divide it this way. So you have 4 different sections of your canvas to get the proportions right. So if you're going to do landscape, I'm going to put the jar on this side, on the right corner, bottom. If you are doing upright, same bottom corner. Okay, so this is the area we're going to be painting. Put that over here. And I'm going to have my reference. I just put it where I can see it. So you put whatever reference you need. And I'm going to start with my little teeny one. And I'm going to do the white, and I'm just going to dip my brush right in the white. And then I'm just going to touch it into the blue. So I get the white and blue paint on the brush at the same time. Just start mixing the colors. Over in the corner. And you're just going to draw an oval. And that is going to be the top of your jar. I'm going to come around. right, so that's your first oval. So this is the mouth of the jar where your flower is going to come out at. You can go big or small. From that back one, you're just going to bring some lines across in the background. Like that. Okay. So that's the back of your glass through here. Now I'm going to do the same thing in the front of the glass. I'm not going to add anything to the sides because I want those to be proportioned to look very thin. So I'm going to come down. You're going to take your brush and just come straight down from each corner. Right about there, about there. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to continue these lines to the front. So that's starting to look like the top of a jar. All right. Now that we have the top of the jar, we're going to come down and do the sides. So I want my jar to be a little fatter because I'm going on like a mason jar. You see the top, and then it'll curve around on the sides. So I'm going to bring my sides out. Like that. And then I'm going to bring them straight on down. Okay. Now that I have that, I need to shade the jar a little bit. So I'm going to switch brushes. How you doing, Jesse? Looks good. So I'm going to go with the flat tip brush. Oh, where's my camera on this one? There we go. Can you see that, Facebook people? All right. And now this is where I want to put a little gray in with my blue. So I'm just taking my white and blue and then I'm dragging it through the gray just to change the tint up just a little bit. I'm going to just come right underneath and do a line and then drag. All right, so you take your brush and you go across and then you drag down. Take your brush and drag it down. Then I'm going to leave a little gap and I'm going to continue that highlight right here. So all I'm doing is taking my flat brush. This isn't catching all of me. All I'm doing is taking my brush and I'm putting it and dragging it down. Tap, drag, and the lighter as you drag, the more transparent it will be because you want a little bit of your dark color coming through that. And then I'm going to scoot over a little bit. I'm going to have a break in between, but then I'm going to do the second round over on this side. So I'm going to come across and then drag it down. So it gives it an appearance that light is hitting that glass. All right, so phase trois, part 3 of our painting. The next colors are going to be for the branches. We're going to have the twigs come out, or the stems. The stems come out of the jar. I'm going to be using a brown, a yellow, and a white. So between each one, I've just rinsed my plate off, just dripping a little bit, so I can start off with a clean palette. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of brown. Yellow. And a little bit of white. I'm using the yellow to tint with the white so I can have different colors. So for my stems, I think I'm going to stick with this size brush, the flat skinny one. Let's adjust this so you can see the painting. Okay. Starting with just the brown. Load up your brush with the brown paint. And put this right here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start it with the top of my mason jar front line. And I'm going to come straight up out of the jar and just drag it up like that. If you're good at flower arrangements, you should have fun with this. So then I'm going to have the next stem in a minute, so I'm going to have to move my phone. Come over and down. I'm going to follow with the next one, over and down. We're just going to repeat. And just put a bunch of stems coming out and around. So you should have at least 5 stems in your jar. You don't want to carry the brown over the lip of your jar, but you want a few of them just to show up on the other side. So I'm just going to bring a couple of them down in my jar. Like that. I don't want to go over top of the white highlight though. So when you bring them down on the bottom part of your jar, don't cross over your white highlights. You just want to have the illusion of them inside the jar. Back on the top, I'm going to have some breakaway branches that come off of the main branches, just little skinnier ones. And a few breakaways on this one that's over here. Once you have your brown twigs, then you're going to add some highlights. So I'm going to add the yellow to my brush and a little bit of white. Look, I don't even rinse my brush off. I like the colors to blend with what I originally started with. Then I'm just going to go over the top of them really lightly to highlight. Now the highlights are supposed to be like the sun shining on the branch. So you're going to want the sun shining in from this corner of your painting over the flowers and branches. So you're going to want to make sure your highlights are on the same side of the twigs. Oops, and I dripped a little bit, which is okay. Just going to add that part of my painting like that was supposed to happen. play with that. I had a little boo-boo right there, so I'm just gonna add a little yellow down at the bottom too, since I already added. Sometimes accidents make the painting, so that's okay. So just a little yellow highlights throughout. So that's your branches. I'm going to pause here. All right, we're making progress. This is part 4, the final video for our painting today. And if you're painting along with us, you've already done your background color, your mason jar vase, and your stems coming out of the vase. We're ready to put flowers on our stems. So I hope you pick your favorite colors. The example we are using again is this one has pink and purple ones, and you can see there's some yellow, some white in there. So I'm going to go with the same color palette, but I'm going to add some red because the room I'm going to put this painting in has some red accents. So, and red's my favorite color, so it's got to be on the painting. So pick out your favorite colors for whatever color flowers you want. As far as brushes, I am choosing to use these little round tip ones, and I have a small and medium. Round tips, small, medium.
Do you need green?
I don't know. Do we want any green? Yes, we do have green leaves, so we're going to want green. And I always like a little highlight, so I'll use some yellow with that as well. So let's do my flowers first, and then I'll go back in and do some leaves last. Some red. Thank you, Jessie.
Get the yellow.
This music's going to put me to sleep. La la la. All right. You don't need a lot of paint. Again, I'm using acrylics, so that's not much paint at all. It goes a long way. And since I'm not blending colors, I can just add to it as I go. Now, with this, you're just going to put flowers wherever. It doesn't matter. So you can start with your brush with one color. I'm going to start from light first and then go to dark. So I'm going to do white, but again, I don't ever use just white. I'm going to add a little pink. So I'm going from lightest to darkest. And see how nice that blends? These are going to be just little petals. We'll start with the light ones first. And you're just going to put them wherever. And to make a petal, let's just put them and lift. Pop and lift. Pop and lift. Like that. So you should be able to see the light color and the white mixing together as you put them on your stems. They don't have to all be touching the brown. This is, they can be floating off a little bit. Just kind of start from the branches and work your way out. Your stems and your flowers, you're going to want some petals just kind of falling off and create a little movement down in this little area. A couple over there. That's probably about all I'm going to do to mine. Thanks, reminding me. We don't have any leaves. So thanks, Jessie. All right, so get your green paint. That's the last one we got to use. Grab another brush. Or rinse out the ones you have. Jessie's got her green. The leaves are going to look a lot like your flowers. They're just going to be a different color. So you're going to take your brush. And you're going to add some little leaves through there. Leaves are really easy. Let me see if I can show you on my plate. Just there you go. There's your leaves. I got enough leaves. You got enough leaves?
Do I?
Yes, it's beautiful. So Jessie's going to come on over here with her painting. So they're very pretty. I hope you enjoyed painting with us today, or whenever you get to do this. Let us know and post your pictures of your painting so we can see what yours look like too. All right, thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend. See ya.